In recent news, March 15, 2024, it says there is a global cancer phenomenon with mystery spikes of all different kinds of tumors in young people. This, as you might expect, has snowballed into a lot of social media cancer posts that I've been seeing, and many accounts have posted misinformation about the COVID vaccine and cancer. So I wanted to investigate this myself and do a video to clarify this topic as a professional researcher. Now, going back a few years, the early claims about the COVID vaccine and cancer came from a researcher named Brian Shilhavy, as reported by LifeSiteNews.com. And Brian dug into the VAERS reports, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, before and after the release of the mRNA vaccine. Don't forget that the word vaccine was redefined around that time. It went from an injection of a killed or weakened infectious organism in order to prevent disease to the act of introducing a vaccine in the body to produce immunity to, in 2021, the act of introducing a vaccine in the body to produce protection. So it went from the goal of having immunity and prevention to the goal of protection, basically. But anyway, back to Brian Shilhavy. He compared VAERS reports of cancer within 1 year of getting vaccinated using the newly invented mRNA COVID vaccine, and he compared that to 30 years prior to the invention of the COVID vaccine, including literally all vaccines. And he found 837 cancer events, including 88 deaths the year after the COVID vaccine was released. And in all the previous 30 years before that, there was a total of 140 cases of cancer reported. So it went from 837 cancer events to 140, which is an increase, it went from 140 to 837 cancer events, which is an increase of 10,661.4%. And remember, that's comparing 1 year to 30 years of history. So before I go into the actual VAERS computer system and look into this myself, and I'll show you how to do this also, I want you to keep in mind there's a difference between absolute and relative risk. There was a study a while back looking at birth control, for example. And if you've read my book, you know what I already think about that. But I don't want to get hung up in the exact numbers here because there's a bunch of different studies and many show both absolute and relative risk numbers on the topic of birth control. But for the sake of clarifying this, there was a study that basically found women not taking birth control had venous thromboembolism, blood clot, at a rate of about 1 in 7,000 women. But the women taking birth control had venous thromboembolism at a rate of about 2 in 7,000. Now, this is not nothing. It's thromboembolism in 0.14% of women without birth control versus 0.29% with birth control. But because it was 1 in 7,000 compared to 2 in 7,000, the Alex Jones media picked it up and said birth control doubles your risk of clotting, rather than saying it's 0.14% versus 0.29%. It's a genuine health risk, and there are several other issues with taking birth control. But to say it doubles your risk is a relative risk. It's not an absolute risk. It's the way the media usually reports health risk because it creates more fear, more clicks. So again, they report relative risk rather than absolute. There's a difference. So anyway, when the LifeSite News is saying cancer increased 10,661.4%, they're reporting a relative risk. But because this number is so massive, I think it's worth investigating, and maybe people are doing videos on this and YouTube is shadow banning the videos or straight up deleting them like they did to my channel back in December 15, 2020. But either way, let's look under the hood at the VAERS website. All right, so what I'm doing here is going to the wonder.cdc.gov/VAERS.hotmail and accepting their disclaimer that this cannot be interpreted as evidence of a causal association. Keep in mind, just like the difference between relative and absolute risk, there's a difference between correlation and causation. But when a causation is massive, like 10,661.4%, it usually does mean cause. When there's fire, there's smoke. But let's go into the website. The key here is to choose VAERS ID, age, and vaccine in section number 1. You don't really need the age, but when I did the CDC tutorial on this using their website, they always put age there, so I'm just going to do that also. I also clicked adverse event description just to read the horror stories about how people got the vaccine and they started immediately bleeding out of their ears or whatever stories like that are reported. It's an enlightening thing to do occasionally, read actual stories from the medical charts. So anyway, the next category, you just select all symptoms where things get complicated, and then you find COVID-19 vaccine under the vaccine characteristics, section number 3. All manufacturers is fine for this example. Next, I used only the US since CDC is American, and by far the majority of VAERS reports are American. Category number 5, just leave everything alone, but category number 6, I added cancer to adverse event description. There are other ways to do this that are more complicated, but I don't want to become a full-time VAERS analyst. I just want to check the cancer reports where it was specifically mentioned for any reason whatsoever. Then I just filled out the year 2021 for all the reports received, vaccination dates, adverse event dates, death dates. And when you search, you'll find 256 total events. And again, you can read about coughing up blood, etc. here if you scroll down, but I'll keep it to PG-13 here. What's fascinating is when you refill all the boxes exactly the same, but you select the years 2000 to 2020, you find 21 events. And if you go to the year before the COVID vaccine was introduced, you'll literally find 0 cancer reports on the VAERS system. Does this mean there was no cancer caused by other vaccines before the COVID vaccine was invented? Not necessarily. It takes a long time for cancer to come about, but almost nobody was reporting it. So then after the COVID vaccine, the cancer reports were flooding in. They were actually being reported, meaning events were happening quickly. It definitely increased in a very massive way. So I can see how you might honestly derive 10,661.4% depending on the parameters you put into the system. And I've literally seen nobody debunk this with their own numbers, so I'm inclined to be concerned about the lack of aggressive research into this issue. And once again, the 10,000% thing is a relative risk, but it's comical because back when Pfizer released the COVID vaccine, they used relative risk to oversell the vaccine when they claimed the newly defined mRNA vaccine was 91.3% effective, even though the absolute risk was minuscule. In fact, when researcher Ronald Brown analyzed the reporting bias in 2021, he found the relative risk was between 90 to 97%, but the absolute risk was only 1%, 0.97%, 1.32%, which is literally a joke for risk reduction. Then you have so many public figures to this day promoting this whole scam. It's insane. Basically a good litmus test for you if you want to see who you can trust, especially because it's a redefined vaccine in a very new setting. And these things coming out in VAERS, which is known to be severely underreporting problems, it's extremely concerning. But I hope this clears up some of the misinformation, exaggeration, the new headlines as they come out on this topic. Also, I hope it gives you a specific methodology to jump into the VAERS website and dig into these numbers yourself.